Hi, everyone. This is Jim Reavis, CEO of Cloud Security Alliance, and I'm wearing a very special shirt. You can see all of our logos there. Shout out to our Triangle chapter, Shankar in North Carolina, for making this for me. I might circle back to this. It has obviously our three certificates for showing your competency in different areas. But I want to welcome you here to our Agentic AI Security Summit. We've been doing a lot of pivoting, more pivoting than LeBron James, I guess, but we've been trying to provide the content, the education you want. And this was originally going to be purely focused on NHI, non-human identity, which is a very important part of it. And you'll see we have several great sessions on that, which are things I definitely want you to check out. But because of the world events and everything that's happening, and I'll definitely be talking a little bit about this, we thought it was good for us to basically include a few different areas. And I think it's like really important. And again, I'll try to unpack that for you a little bit. So I'm here providing the welcome, and I'm happy to do that. And normally when I'm doing these welcomes, I provide some more broader industry perspectives or talk about the projects that we have going underway. And I might intersect a little bit with that, but really I'm here to talk to you and about what you are doing in terms of thinking about your career, your path in cybersecurity, or very related. I'm sure you're in a very related field if you're not in that directly. And are you like thinking that through and optimizing what that is going to look like for you? Are you getting the right skill sets? Are you really thinking this through in the best way? So how I would say that is what I think is really important is for you to be a builder. I think that we're going to see some things that are like tremendously different in our industry in a very short amount of time. So if you think to not even 12 months ago, even 6, 7, 8 months ago, and today, how different it looks in software development, programming, coding. You have so many of the top developers saying they have not written code in quite a few months. They've maybe edited a little bit, but essentially they are having the coding agents do a lot of this work. And that's why one of the shout outs here is to Lovable, one of the coding agents. I want to thank Igor, their CISO, for being one of the contributors, presenters in this event. We think it's very, very important to hear from them, to hear what the companies that are making the tools, that are making the code, are way, way more important than they used to be when you talked about a passive integrated development environment. It's the IDEs are doing a lot more these days. And so when you think about how much that's changed, I can't say for sure that we're going to see cybersecurity change as much, but 12, 18 months, it's going to change a lot. It's going to look very, very different. There's no doubt about that. And so you have no doubt heard some of the work we've done on when Mythos came out, and we activated a great number of experts, a number of CISOs and other very well-known industry experts to talk about what that means, Mythos creating this vulnerability storm, and how that's going to impact cybersecurity programs. And so because of that sort of research, it's really sort of set that theme on all the things we need to change. In order to make those changes in our cybersecurity programs, we have to make changes in terms of our skill sets and the professionals that are really committed to like being able to maximize their effectiveness and value to their organizations. I'm really trying to beseech you, I guess might be a good word, to like really take this to heart and really see what you can do to be thinking about this, do some self-reflection, and let's go make these changes together. So when we had the initial ChatGPT moment in late 2022, and for the years immediately following that, organizations, I think, were very much thinking about AI in terms of we need to understand the risks and manage this, and we're going to adopt it at our speed that makes sense for us. Again, understanding those risks, which obviously that makes a lot of sense. But there's another aspect of this, which is understanding how those AI systems and models are going to impact you irregardless of what your personal roadmap is. It's, I think, something I paraphrased Leon Trotsky, who was a great AI expert, who he said, you may not care about AI, but AI cares about you. And that's certainly what we have seen. So Mythos, which you know is the latest family of models from Anthropic, and it's something that, like the other frontier models, really there's been a lot of work, not specifically on cybersecurity, but on coding. And it turns out that all that work to make these models optimized for coding has had this emergent capability that was not expected, that they're also awesome at security. They're awesome at finding vulnerabilities, particularly was the big test here. And so we're in the middle of this. And again, it's really important to point out that this is not something that is unique to Anthropic and the Mythos model. And there's a lot of different body of work showing that with different models and different ways of harnessing them and putting them in some sort of a pipeline, that you're able to find just so many more vulnerabilities. And so one of the things we've talked about, and I think somewhat of a conclusion out of the different follow-on in-person events we've done about Mythos after we created the paper, was that we know there's going to be a huge volume of vulnerabilities. So we're sort of shifting our thinking about not just the fact that we're going to have a lot of vulnerabilities and like just thinking about patching all the time, but what's that absorption rate we can do with new vulnerabilities and be able to solve the problems. So this is the world we're in now. I think maybe another way I might characterize this is we've been in this sort of cybersecurity framework world of different phases, but protect, detect, defend, all of those different processes, to more of that OODA loop of observe, orient, decide, act, just very, very quick cycles in how we are being able to make decisions and continually work to make our cybersecurity better. There's been a paper actually from NIST you might want to check out. You can go Google and find it, about a mathematical proof that is actually saying that static guardrails for protecting AI will not work, that you actually have to do things continuously. You have to continuously update, change, monitor, audit, all those different areas. And like they had a fair amount of rigor in this and went back to some incompleteness theorem of like over 100 years ago, I think. So there's like a greater understanding across the board that we need to be doing some things differently. So if I give you some examples here of some of the things that we sort of understood and determined as we worked through this Mythos Ready paper, and we had a lot of people thinking through this, was that we're likely moving from vulnerability management to something called VulNops, which is very much like that infinity loop for DevOps, where we're doing this continuous discovery of vulnerabilities and then continuously understanding how we triage that, which is not going to be patching in a lot of cases. For OT systems, industrial control systems, you may not have that ability, and we've talked about this sort of digital twin, other ways of doing that. But the point is, you are going to have to continuously triage into different sorts of decisions, containment, whatever else you're going to need to do. Annual penetration test, sort of shifting to AI red teaming. And this is something where, again, I've been as just on the side and talking to some of our members about things that we're going to need to do to actually do some more autonomous, continuous assessments using AI agents. And so this is just going to be absolutely necessary. Threat intelligence and just the whole idea on threat modeling now that we actually have different canons that we've always believed as part of the formula for that aren't always true. So now you could argue that there are no script kiddies anymore, that everyone has nation state capabilities. And so it's really important that we have that like real-time telemetry, and we're able to like do that versus say, okay, here's something new we found out, let's go figure out what we're going to do with it, from perhaps like a recently issued CVE. Again, more late breaking news. Go check out the latest report from FIRST, where they're projecting a very, very large number of CVEs when we get to the end of 2026. Finally, we got to go machine speed. And this bottom right quadrant talking about incident response, but we got to go machine speed for about everything here. So if you're with me here that the cybersecurity programs are going to change, they're not going to just change top down and a mandate here. Certainly our CISOs educating boards on risks and being able to get the whole company, the CEO, everyone behind that person, and being able to get the right support to be able to make these changes. It's really going to come from within the cybersecurity team. I think you are the key people that are going to make this change happen. Something that I think is like really important when we talk about this builder is what are you doing? You are taking these coding agents or on that initial screen, and you're going to be building with those agents. And you're going to find that in this very agile, continuous world, as great as the cybersecurity industry is, and there's a tremendous number of new companies as well as a lot of new offerings from the existing bellwether cybersecurity companies of very agentic oriented solutions, and from visibility and real-time guardrails, just all sorts of things you can see. Despite that great sort of foundation we have, you're going to find that you're going to actually need to build a lot of agents yourself. You're going to need to do that, fill the gaps, to provide very specific context in the output you're getting from all your different systems. There's a lot of different reasons you're going to need to do this. Also, you're going to need to build secure agents. So the agents that exist outside of cybersecurity, you're going to need to harden those. And so if you sort of combine those things together, having that really strong competency yourself of building will help you improve cybersecurity. And then you're going to be able to extend that outside of your department and secure all the other agents within the company. So it's really important. And I'm a big believer in this. This is things I've been doing myself personally, trying to work on my building skills. I'm trying to lead by example there, and I've got a lot of things in GitHub repos to share. And so, but it's really important that we all go and understand this is going to be the fastest growing cybersecurity job here in the not too distant future. And it's going to be a very common and pervasive job title. So we want you to be a builder. And I've spun up a little site, a little page on our lab space area, which is an area where we do a lot of experimentation. And I want you to go check that out. It's got a lot of different areas you can experiment in. We've tried to curate on, like, here's some great repos, popular repos that are out there, GitHub and other places where you can go download tools and you can use them. Certainly, I think that our TASE foundational certificate to make you a strong AI safety expert, that's a really good foundation of understanding these areas as you look to build things. Also want to mention we have this new Mythos course. To understand that, it's just a very easy, simple 1-hour course. I wouldn't say easy, but it's very straightforward in going through that to understand this. But we're all moving together in this. And so it's important that we look at what we are doing and our skill sets appropriate for the future that's coming at us very quickly. So I hope that's giving you a little bit of food for thought. I hope you enjoy the rest of this event with non-human identity, Agentic, and so much more. Thank you.